He was only 8 years old when his father, Malik Okoro, a dock worker in Veracruz, made a decision that would cost him his life. Malik had been warned to pay protection money to Los Scorpions, a cartel whose name alone made hardened men whisper. Malik refused. "I will not feed criminals," he told his neighbors. But courage is rarely rewarded in a city ruled by fear. One cold night, Malik woke to pounding at the door. His father shoved him under the bed, whispering, "Stay silent, no matter what you hear." Then the door burst open. Masked men stormed in, 3 of them, guns out, boots thudding. They beat Malik while Malik watched from the shadows. The boy saw their faces clearly. The man with the snake tattoo, the one with the silver tooth, the third with eyes like ice. They dragged his father outside. Malik heard shouting, a gunshot, and then silence. When neighbors finally found him the next morning, Malik was shivering under the bed, staring blankly. In the street lay Malik's lifeless body. Spray painted on the wall above him were the words, "No one says no to Los Scorpions." That night, a child died and something else was born. Something cold, patient, and merciless. Malik swore to avenge his father. He didn't know how. He didn't know when. But he never forgot those faces. Malik's early years were a crucible. He crossed borders alone, riding trucks, sleeping in alleys, begging for food. By 12, he was in Mexico City stealing wallets. By 16, he was running small errands for low-level cartel runners. Ironically, Malik was working for the same cartel that killed his father, though they didn't recognize him. He never spoke about his past. He just worked, kept his head down, and learned. But behind Malik's quiet obedience burned rage. He studied everything: who collected money, who ordered hits, who gave the orders behind closed doors. He memorized routes, names, safe houses. He was building a map in his mind of the entire organization that had destroyed his life. His first kill came at 18. Hector, a mid-level enforcer, tried to cheat him. Malik followed him into a filthy cantina restroom and drove a broken bottle into his throat. Hector died gurgling, eyes wide. Malik washed his hands and walked out. No one saw. No one talked. The cartel liked Malik's cold efficiency. They gave him bigger jobs, and he executed them flawlessly. But he wasn't loyal. He was patient. By 25, Malik was feared. They called him El Fantasma, the ghost. He killed quickly, vanished without a trace, and never asked questions. The bosses trusted him as an executioner. What they didn't know was that Malik was hunting them, one by one. The first big target was Sergio Ruiz, the man with the snake tattoo. Malik set up an ambush on a deserted road, riddled Sergio's convoy with bullets, and left him dead with his tongue cut out as a message. No one suspected Malik. They blamed rivals. Next was El Gato, a sadistic trafficker. Malik earned his trust, drank with him, saved his life in a staged ambush, then slit his throat in a nightclub. Again, rivals were blamed. One by one, the old guard died. By 30, Malik was Chief de Chiefs, the boss of bosses. The orphan no one trusted now ruled Los Scorpions. But Malik never wanted power. He wanted revenge. Malik used his throne to destroy the cartel. He identified every man who had touched his father's blood. Some he killed personally, staring into their eyes as they realized who he was. Others he fed to the police or rival gangs. Every death was deliberate. He wasn't building an empire. He was dismantling it. Authorities noticed. Interpol issued warrants. The DEA whispered his name. Mexican federals kicked down doors. But Malik stayed 2 steps ahead. Then came the fatal breach. Don Ernesto, one of the last old bosses, remembered Malik as the boy from Veracruz. The cartel turned on its own king. An assassination squad riddled his car with bullets in Tijuana. Malik barely escaped. After months on the run, Malik made his move. He walked into a Mexico City police station unarmed. Officers froze as the most feared man in the hemisphere raised his hands. "I'm done running," Malik said calmly. He didn't surrender for mercy. He surrendered for justice. In exchange for protection, he exposed the cartel's entire network. Names, bank accounts, smuggling routes, corrupt politicians. His testimony ripped Los Scorpions apart. Dozens were arrested, millions seized. When asked why, Malik's answer was simple. "I didn't rise to power to be king. I rose to avenge my father, and to end the curse that killed him." But Malik's story didn't end in court. Prison was a battlefield. Los Scorpions still had allies behind bars. They wanted Malik dead before he could testify further. The first attempt came 2 weeks in. Malik was walking the yard when 2 inmates rushed him with sharpened shanks. Malik's reflexes saved him. He snapped one man's arm and stabbed the other with his own weapon. By the time guards arrived, both were bleeding out. Malik stood calmly, blood dripping from his hands, staring as if to say, "Is that all you've got?" The attacks kept coming, a poisoned meal. Malik fed it to a stray cat and watched it die. A rig shower. Malik spotted the loose wiring before he stepped in. Someone even tried to pay a guard to slit his throat in solitary. Malik knew he couldn't just defend himself forever. He had to rule the prison the way he'd ruled the cartel. The prison was controlled by its own cartel, led by Ramon El Toro Vargas. He ran drugs, gambling, and extortion from his cell. When El Toro demanded Malik pay protection, Malik refused. One night, Malik slipped into El Toro's cell using a stolen key and a makeshift razor. The next morning, El Toro was found hanging from his bunk with his throat cut, a note pinned to his chest. "The ghost walks here too." With El Toro dead, Malik seized power. He brokered deals between rival gangs, exposed corrupt guards to outside investigators, and ensured that anyone plotting against him vanished into solitary or left the yard on a stretcher. Guards who once wanted him dead now came to him for peace inside the walls. Malik became Rey Fantasma, the Ghost King, untouchable. Even old cartel allies learned to keep their distance. But betrayal still lingered. One man, a fellow inmate named Javier, pretended to be Malik's ally, feeding him information. But secretly Javier was working for the last remnants of Los Scorpions outside, promising them Malik's head. Malik discovered the betrayal when he found a smuggled cell phone hidden in Javier's bunk with photos of Malik's daily routine. Malik didn't lash out in anger. He waited. At the next yard gathering, Malik called Javier to sit beside him. Then, in full view of every gang, stabbed him through the neck with a sharpened toothbrush. No words, just a cold stare. The message was clear. Malik wasn't just alive. He was in control. By the time Malik finished testifying against the cartel, Los Scorpions was ashes. Their leaders were either dead or behind bars. Their networks dismantled. The very empire that murdered Malik Okoro no longer existed. Reporters called Malik both a monster and a hero. Politicians called him a criminal. Ordinary people called him justice. But Malik didn't care what anyone called him. His father's ghost was finally at peace. Malik remained in prison for life. But he ruled his prison like a king, untouchable, feared, and strangely respected even by guards. And now, I turn to you. Was Malik Okoro a hero who delivered justice? Or just another criminal cloaked in revenge? Does vengeance cleanse the soul? Or does it only spread darkness? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's see what justice means to you.